Oikein paljon tervetuloa jälleen Hurrikaanin Pyörteisiin. Ruthin Leipomolle ollaan jälleen saavuttu nauhoittamaan uuden uutukaista jaksoa. Ja tällä kertaa meillä on vieraana JYPin puolustuksesta kanadalaisvahvistus Trent Bourque. Trent, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Thank you. Yeah, things are good. Enjoying it.
If we think about last weekend, of course we started the new week now, but first of all, game on Friday. Nice win against Sport and pretty good showing from you guys also.
Yeah, I think it was a must-win game, obviously with, if you look at the standings, but I don't think you can ever take a team lightly. But, they play a pretty, difficult game where it's kind of a boring game in a lot of players' eyes, but it's, they prey on our mistakes. But anyways, after our, we had that little 3-game losing streak and we kind of nipped that in Tampere and then against Ilves, and then played Sport and won that game too. So I think it's good for coming into this week, into the fall, into this week with the 2 away games. So yeah, it's a good weekend.
Yeah, maybe a bit different games last week against Ilves and Sport, but 2 wins, so must be overall happy.
Yeah, I think 5 out of 6 points. I mean, you can't complain with that. Yeah, I mean, it was a good week, especially considering the week we had prior to that. So 2 wins, 5 out of 6 points, great week for us.
Did you have any discussions before the Sport game that they have sold quite many players or rented quite many players and they're in last in the standings?
Yeah, I mean, that's always going to be part of the conversation in the room. Some guys end up having friends and, former teammates that are being sold or brought in. And so it's kind of a weird time of year where a lot of teams are changing, adding guys, selling guys. But yeah, there was conversation about Sport and, how they've, struggled this year. They brought in a new coach, they fired the coach. Like there's been a lot of movement. But I think those are the kind of teams that, they shock people. And, coming down the line, like the league is so close, you can never take those games for granted. So those are 3 points we needed.
Have you thought about it, or has there been any discussions within the team about who's the favorite, who is going on a tough streak or so on? How is the preparation for those games?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now, we're focusing on ourselves. We're not trying to, talk about, who's the favorite for the league and, who's going to be playing who in playoffs. I think there's still so much hockey to play. The seasons are so long. So no, I think right now we're focusing on ourselves, just trying to get ourselves in a good rhythm leading into the, the last half of the season and just trying to win as many games as possible. Right. So if we can keep ourselves in that, top 4 groups of team, I mean, that's a great place to be going into playoffs. So I guess that's the conversation, more about us than it is about other people. But yeah, every day is a little different. So who knows? Maybe tomorrow is a bit more of a conversation about other teams. We'll see.
And on Saturday, maybe not so competitive hockey with the sponsors. Or was it competitive? Was it all about winning?
It got competitive. There were some pretty good skilled teams out there, but no, it was fun. It was nice to get out there, a bit more of a relaxing day of games and. A little something different for us. Get to meet some new people, and enjoy the companies, the company of different people and the where they come from, the sponsors, what they do for the team, and so it was neat. I had a good time.
Which team were you in?
I'm gonna mess the name up. Alco. My jersey was orange. I was in the orange team. That's all. I'm going to mess the name up. So,
did you have any old league players there?
No, not on our team. No.
What about these 2 junior stars?
Nope, not on our team. No, we won 2 games, but we had the most fun.
Is there any players on you who take it a bit too seriously, like that kind of events?
Probably Peta. Probably. He was on a good team. He was going way too hard. But no, I'm kidding. He was doing well. No, all the guys were, I think, having a good time. It's a long day though. 10:30 to 4:30, something like that. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of kids ended up coming out at the end, got to meet them and, sign some jerseys and stuff. So it was a good day.
If you think overall, there's been a pretty much free Saturdays this season, and Tobias Wimberg said at one point that he feels like a normal worker because there's so much free Saturdays from games. Yeah. How has it been for you?
Yeah, we've been fortunate with that. I have a feeling we're going to get slammed in the next couple of weeks, but Oh, it's nice. You don't usually, I mean, Patu is so, he's so fair. So it's like if we put the work in, he'll give us the time off. So we've been fortunate to get, Saturday, Sundays off and a lot of time just to kind of rest, recover, for the other guys, spend time with their families and do those things. So yeah, I enjoy it. It's nice because, like I said earlier, like the seasons are so long and the rest is just so valuable. But yeah, I mean, I'm like Tobay, like I enjoy the weekends. You kind of feel like a normal worker in a sense.
How is it? Do you like? Would you more prefer that you would play on Tuesday, Thursday, and on Saturday, or like this? It's because it's going like up and down all the time.
Like you mean like a consistent schedule where it's every week the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for scheduling purposes, like, it'd be nice, but it's also, then you get kind of stuck in a routine. Sometimes it's nice to change things up, so I don't mind it. Kind of, whether it's a Tuesday or a Wednesday game or a Friday and a Saturday game, like it doesn't really, or the odd Thursday game, like it doesn't matter. But sometimes, I think last year when I was in Slovakia, we had, I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday, Friday, Sunday or something like that. Every week it was the same. And then sometimes you'd have only 2 games or something. But like, so it was nice. You got like, you built your schedule, you knew your routine, and it was the same thing. But yeah, the change up is good. I don't mind it.
There's been a lot of talk in Finland about playing on Friday and Saturday, and it may be affecting the quality of the game. Do you feel it like it's a bad thing to play on Friday and Saturday? Would you prefer something else, or is it you go by the schedule?
I mean, I grew up, playing junior hockey, and when I started pro in North America, we had what we call 3-and-3s. So we'd play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. And so, I mean, I think in a sense, like I'm used to it. It also kind of shows like what team's the most resilient, who's got, the most energy throughout the week, whatever, like your preparation for the game. I don't mind it at all. I think it just makes it a bit more competitive and, a bit rougher at times maybe. So I don't mind it.
So, all these sides in everything. We mentioned Topias Wimberi. Mm-hmm. You've been playing a lot together, maybe like the whole season, more or less. How have you liked playing with him?
Yeah, I love it. I think we've built some really good chemistry out there. I think we're just kind of having fun with it. We're kind of just trying to, I guess in a sense, like play the defensive role that I think we have, but obviously trying to produce and get up in the play to help our forwards as well. I think we've been pretty, successful in doing that, and just, maybe it doesn't for him and I show all the time on the score or on the score sheet, but I think those, the passes that we're able to, our breakouts out of the zone, stopping the offensive play against us, I think we've been pretty good at that. So playing with him, love it. And him and, as a dude, great guy. So I'm, really enjoying it.
You've been playing quite a big minutes with him. You both are average over 20 minutes.
Yeah. I think it's obviously different every game, but averaging something like that probably.
How has it been? Because you have that, do you like to play more or like to keep it below somewhere?
For me, like I'm a gamer. Like I love being in the game. I love, like if I could play 60 minutes, I would. I just, the more time, the better. I find when it's like, consistent, time and you're constantly going out with the same guy, you build a rhythm and you get more comfortable on the ice. And I really enjoy it. So I mean, I guess we've worked on our conditioning, so it's not too bad. Him and I don't think we're ever really complaining that we're too, exhausted or too tired. So for us, I don't know. I enjoy the minutes
because you have a pretty good competition with all the different defending players at the moment, because there are a lot of good. How do you would describe it?
I think we have probably one of the most solid D-cores in the league. I think in the sense when you've got the skill, in some of our more offensive guys, you've got, the defensive ability of some of our guys that all of our guys have. You also have the physicality and like the height that, with Vina coming back in, and, we've obviously got Ertzi coming back, and, there's just so many guys who are, pulling their weight in different spots. So, when I look at our D, I think we we have one of the better cores, and in the league. But hopefully we can continue just kind of doing well and producing. But obviously competition is healthy for a team, and you can't ever get complacent. Like Tobe and I, like we've been playing together for a lot of the season, but we can't sit back and start playing poorly. Our things will change. So doesn't matter kind of your age, doesn't matter where you come from, where you've played before. I think it's whoever's playing the best at the time is going to get rewarded, and so it's just kind of always keeping that in the back of your mind that there's always someone coming for your job. But I think right now we're working really well together.
How are you feeling about your own game at the moment?
Yeah, I think, obviously it was a bit of a slower start for me this season. Not what I was, expecting. But I think I've kind of come into my own. I'm feeling a lot more confident with the puck and, the defensive part of it, the offensive, trying to contribute more where I can. And, so currently feeling really strong with it. Just like I said, confident with the puck, able to move it around pretty nicely, and just feeling kind of more at home, skating around and kind of doing my thing. So yeah, a lot better.
But more to come.
Hopefully. Yeah, I hope so. Stay tuned.
Have you when you discuss with the Tobbe, do you have that? Okay, I am the defending player, or is it Tobbe, or are you putting some kind of roles to yourself?
No, I don't think we've ever talked like that. I don't think we need to. That's what I mean when I said the chemistry. Yeah, like we move so well together. Where it's like if he goes up, I'm kind of coming in a bit further behind. Yeah. If I go up, he's coming a bit further. Like you're always skating, supporting. So many of our games we have these little 4 or 5 feet pass, or I guess you guys don't use feet, meters. Like a meter or 2 pass, like short, small passes. But it lets us get out of these little areas, and we're able to make the tic-tac-toe to our center, and we're out. So I think a lot of it's communication, but no, we haven't sat there and been like, okay, you have to play defense and I'm going to play offense. None of that. So we're just kind of reading off each other, and like I said, having fun with it. So yeah.
But it must be pretty nice when it comes naturally, and you don't have to settle on anything that you play defense and I'm an offensive team, and you know that the other guy's gonna be there.
Well, I think that's what's been so fun about it. I keep saying we're having fun, and we genuinely are. We come back to the bench, we're laughing, we're smiling, we're making jokes while making these plays, and I think we're just slowly getting better every game, and leading to a really hopefully successful end of season and postseason. So it's good. We're having fun. I'm really enjoying playing with them. So yeah.
I have to go back to the Christmas time also. You got to represent Canada in Spengler Cup.
I did.
What kind of an experience was that?
It's such such an honor to be able to represent your country in whatever way that looks. And, I think it's funny. We talked to, over the years of playing in Europe, you talk to teammates and stuff who have the ability to go and play for their countries. And, it's a little different coming from Canada or even, the USA, there's such a big population of people who play. So it's, a little bit more difficult to make it onto those rosters and stuff. So to have my name called and to go and, play in Switzerland for that tournament, such a cool experience. So not the results we wanted, but it was really neat. Spend Christmas over there. My family came over. So I wouldn't have been able to really go home during that time anyways. So overall, a really cool experience.
How was the call when you got the call that you're coming to play for Canada?
Yeah, I was actually, where were we? I think we had just won in Kalpa away or against Kalpa. And got a call that they asked me if I was, if I wanted to play. And I was like, do people turn this down? I was like, do people say no to this? So anyways, I obviously got that call, and had to keep it quiet for a few days until things were a bit more released, and then let the team know, and everyone was excited. I was over the world, over the moon, and it was just kind of a lot of nerves and excitement leading up to it, but overall it was a really neat experience. Really cool time.
Were there any old friends or players at that team?
Guys I had played against. So no one I played on a team with. But yeah, a bunch of guys who I'd either played against, whether it was in Europe or back in North America. So yeah, but the group of guys was great. Everyone got along, and yeah. I mean, we would have liked to go a bit further in the tournament, obviously, but such is life. You stick a team together for what do we have? 2 skates, 1 skate. It was like 1 real skate and then a morning skate before we played our first game. And you're playing against teams that have been together all year. So it's tough, but it was really cool.
What kind of was the first game when you entered the ice? You have seen the guys for, let's say, a couple of hours, and
yeah. I guess you just kind of have to just trust like your hockey instinct, like in a way, like you just kind of go out there and you try to have as much fun as you can, but like try to simplify your game so that it works for everyone. I mean, we played our first game against the U.S. team, the collegiate team, so they were kind of in the same situation where they, brought a whole bunch of players together and I think they practiced about a week, 5 or 6 times. Someone said, I don't know that for a fact, but that's what I heard, and so yeah, you just try to keep it as simple. I mean, we did a ton of video and ton of kind of planning with like strategic planning and stuff before the game, and you just have to let your hockey sense take over and just kind of play. So I think that's what we did. We ended up winning that game, which was nice. So,
what was the strategy? Because if you play the US or Canada way, it's more or less you go forward all the time.
Yeah,
like in Finland.
That's what they wanted to do. We wanted to play like a North American game, which for me, I was like, like I've been playing in Europe for a few years, but
that was about to be my next question, because you'll be standing behind the net and waiting for the guys to compete.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the biggest shock though was the size of the ice. I mean, I'm playing on on European ice for the last several years, but the ice in Switzerland's a little bigger, and and then you bring the altitude into it. Like it was tough. Like I've never played at altitude before, and that was a real challenge. Like you're heavy breathing after about 5 seconds, and it's like, I think I'm in shape, but like what's going on here? So, the strategy anyways was, like I was saying, the North American style, and it was, simple, move the puck up, get the puck in, get the puck back, try and score. Like, as simple as it can be. And then, obviously with some more fine tuning in little spots and stuff, but pretty simplistic.
We all know the rivalry between Canada and the US. Was there any rivalry in that game, it being like a college team or so?
I think there's always going to be a rival. It was weird though. I mean, that team I think they had a Latvian on their team. They had a couple Canadians. So yeah, there was that kind of always going to be that rival, Canada, US, but it was just kind of, I think people were more consumed by, the nerves, first game, new, really cool rink, the atmosphere, the altitude, like there were so many things. So it got a little heated and rough at times, but, I mean, those guys did great. Look at their tournament, right? Like they went to the finals against Davos, but I think their average age was like 20, 21, something like that. So a lot of young kids.
How about the Olympics coming up? How much are you looking forward to them? Canada has a goal to defend again.
Yeah, really, I think it's going to be another cool year. I think just with having the NHL players back and being able to watch. I remember several years ago they had that team, like the World Cup or whatever, World Championship, and it was the Team North America. Then they had Team Canada and stuff, and that was really cool. So it's since the Four Nations, I guess it's the most previous one. So it'll be nice to have the NHLers in there to really watch all the, the stars kind of fly around there and, make their plays and stuff like that. So it's going to be neat to watch.
Okay. Well, how was coming back to Jyväskylä because of the altitude? You were flying on the ice when Heiskanen started his morning skates and.
Yeah. I actually, I felt good. Like I think because I came back, had one skate, and then we went to Helsinki to play IFK. Felt really good. It was obviously a lot of travel. Like I think I left my travel day from Davos. I think I left at 4:30 in the morning was my shuttle or something like that. Okay. 4:30, and then I got back to Jyväskylä at 7 p.m. at night. So it was a long day. But yeah, felt good coming back and got right back into the practice and played the next day. And so, yeah, it was kind of the things you have to do, I guess.
If we think about outside of hockey, how have you liked Jyväskylä? You've been here a bit over half a year now.
Yeah, I from the beginning of the season, I always said it was similar to back home. So where I am, like I live just 45 minutes outside of Toronto, so big cities. But we spent a lot of our childhood up north, northern Ontario, in the kind of lake country, cottage country. So surrounded by lakes, surrounded by the forest, that was kind of always been a bit of a happy place for me. So coming here and kind of being smack dab in, some of the most, in a place in Finland that's just surrounded by lakes and forest, I think it felt kind of a little bit like home, which was nice for me. Comfortable, like we were talking about earlier, I've got a walking path, a trail right near my house, right by the lake, could jump in the lake, earlier in the year. And, so I've really enjoyed it. I'm not a huge city guy. So this city has kind of everything. It's got restaurants, it's got shopping if you need, different activities to do. And then obviously the nature that surrounds it. So it's kind of a perfect size for me. So I've enjoyed it. Yeah, long story short.
Yeah, you have been to Helsinki also.
Yeah.
So this is a much smaller place.
Much smaller. But the nice thing is that, if you want to go to, Tampere or Helsinki, I mean, it's super close.
Yep.
Like they're not long trips, and you can go into the city and, have a big day or a weekend, which I've done a few times, which is nice. But, yeah, I mean, to live in, I probably wouldn't go much bigger than Jyväskylä or like my hometown, which is pretty similar in size. So, yeah, it's kind of perfect for me.
What do you do on your free time? Exploring around Jyväskylä, or?
Yeah, I mean, I try to get outdoors as much as possible. Try out, different trails and finding different paths and stuff to walk. But try. I go to just across the street. We go to the golf sim. Try to earlier in the year I was fishing a lot. Brought my fishing rods this year. Yeah, I mean, lots of different things, like lots of time because of the time change, calling home and checking in on family and things like that. So yeah, trying to fill my time as much as I can. What am I on? I think I'm on my 5th book this year, so trying to read a bit more this year, so that's good. I finished my college degree 2 years ago, which took up a lot of time when I was in Europe initially, like in Germany. So just trying to find different ways to finish to fill my time. Here and there, I'll definitely play some video games with my brother. My brother or my buddies are on back home, but it's nothing too crazy.
Big question: Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation. Yeah, always have been.
What game? Call of Duty.
No, I've been off the Call of Duty. I picked up Battlefield earlier this year, and then recently Farm Simulator. Building a farm. Oh yeah,
Building a farm.
Oh yeah, you guys should see it. It's coming along.
Yeah, I know that because my son is playing. He's 13.
Okay, we might need to make a farm together. You never know.
And you can discuss about farms with Tyrsky. He's planning to move on the countryside.
Yeah. Well, I can give him some pointers now. Yeah, I'll show him how to design one.
But it's your second time in Finland, like we talked. Was there any things you missed from Finland while being away?
Well, the sauna culture for sure. I mean, we this summer we actually we built a sauna up in our cabin, northern cabin, and so that was really nice. But prior to that, yeah, missing the sauna for sure. But also, I just think the people here, like the Finnish people, I think once you get to know them, they're so friendly. Initially, they're maybe a bit closed off initially, but once you get to know people, I think they're so friendly, open, wanting to do things, whether it's, some sort of activity or just hanging around, having a coffee or a beer or something like that. So, I enjoyed the culture, and then obviously the sauna on top of that. So,
How about the food? two maybe biggest things you show to tourists when they come here are salmiakki and dry bread. Have you tried them or liked them?
I've tried them both. I mean, they're good. I'm not reaching for them every day, but I mean the Finnish food like is I've enjoyed it. I mean, I don't think I'm not really a picky eater, so I'll eat anything. I mean, besides the Finnish food, there's so many different cuisines here. I mean, it's a diverse place. Just like, like Canada, you can get any type of food anywhere you are. So, I mean, when you go down to like some of the bigger cities, I mean, you can get just about anything. So it's, yeah.
And now the Easter is coming. You have to try mammi.
What is that?
It's made of rye and what is it? Rye water, and it's brown like dog poo.
Okay,
it looks like it, and then you put some cream or vanilla sauce on it, and
you're making it sound really good.
Yeah. Do you want to try how I describe it? It tastes good, but it looks terrible.
Perfect. Okay, so
mammi, M-A with 2 dots, M-M-I.
Okay, mammi.
Mam, yeah.
I will try it then.
Yeah, you can find it. I think you can find it from a freezer in every store in Finland at the moment. Still at the moment.
No, you got to get the fresh stuff. You got to try it properly.
How about your Finnish?
Oh my god. I've been to I've lived in a couple countries now, and Finnish is by far the hardest. I think like it is. The difficulty is that you speak so fast. And so as soon as like you're in, you're downtown or something like that, you're at a restaurant, you try to like say a few things, they instantly know you're not Finnish and they switch to English. It's like, I can't learn now. You know what I mean?
Because the Finnish people want to
they want to learn English. We want to learn Finnish. Yeah. So no, I'm like I've been on the Duolingo, and it's not as helpful. I mean, I don't want to learn about wizards and certain things that it's trying to teach me. It's like, this isn't helpful. Like tell me how to order a coffee or something like that. So I got to find a kind of a better learning program for it. But slowly, I'm a good listener, so I can understand a bit more. Definitely from when I was first here, but speaking is difficult, I find.
How much do you understand in the locker room when the people are talking?
Well, I sit beside Puri, and he is a phenomenal translator. He lived over in North America and all around, but so he's been so good for me. But I think even when there's no meetings and you're just listening to guys talk, like you slowly pick up on certain things and repetitive words and things like that. So slowly coming along, but slowly, it's tough.
What about the German? Because you played also in DEL.
Yeah, well, I was in Bavaria, so southern Germany.
Yeah.
So they say that the Bavarians struggle to understand the northern Germans, and the northern Germans, struggle to understand Bavarians. Just like a different dialect, but I found that language was easier to learn. Probably the easiest that I've, since living in the countries I have in Europe, I would say it's the easiest. Like by the end, I was ordering things at restaurants and, having very, very simple conversations with people. But yeah, I thought it, if I was there a few more years or something like that, or, took a bit more time to learn, using some of those courses, I think I could have, really picked that up pretty easily. So yeah, I don't know. That one wasn't too hard.
We talked about the culture, but let's talk about hockey also. Tell us about the decision about coming to JYP last year.
Yeah. So I was obviously in Slovakia, and then the year prior I finished in Helsinki. I honestly thought I was going to be back in Liga after when I was with Helsinki. That ended up obviously not working out. Went to Slovakia. So when Simo, spoke to my agent, spoke to me, gave me, kind of the rundown of here's the opportunity. And, he was talking about trying to really change the culture. And, obviously you take a bit of a risk. You take a bit of a risk when a team has been struggling for so long. I think, what was it? 7 years not making the playoffs.
Yes.
So you obviously have to take that into consideration, potentially, we may, it might be a year of, struggle for the team and for you personally. But Simo made it sound like there was a change coming and, culture shift and really trying to improve things here and bringing in a new coach. And anyway, so I was like, yeah, let's try it. Let's give it a whirl. And really, it's a good opportunity and jumped on it. And here we are. We're doing really well. So
how long took you make the decision? How long it took?
Oh, goodness. Like the negotiation period and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I think it's different. Like when you're kind of middle of the season, I think you've got a lot of things going on. I think Simo, he probably has some other answer for this, but maybe it's 3-4 weeks, something like that, kind of talking and going back and forth. And then you get a bit more serious near the latter half of that and then make a decision. So, because obviously, GMs have to make their teams, they've got to set their rosters. And Finland, though, I mean, even this year, kind of you notice it a bit more is they make their teams for next year very early. Yep. Maybe it's different for Finnish players, but imports they pick up early. Like we're all like I got signed or like started talking about a contract for next year, and it was months ago. Like it was early. Yep. But I guess that's just how it's done here because other leagues wait to see who's available and who they can pick up. Because I know, like in Germany, you only have 12 cards for the year. Maybe this has changed since I've left, but you only have 12 cards. So once you use them, so say they sign you, and then you decide to leave midsummer, I think that card's burned or something like that. So yeah, it's a little different everywhere you go.
Now we have to ask the big question. What kind of was the first call or discussion with Petu? Because we have heard some really good stories.
Yeah, everyone we ask this question says he pumps the tires so full that you just can't say no. How was it with you?
Well, because I wouldn't have known the stories until I got here, and mainly Pudi telling me, but because he obviously was coached by him in Espoo, and. Anyways, no, I remember the call was nothing crazy. Like it was pretty professional. Like, I don't know, maybe he was trying not to scare me off. I don't know, but
was your reaction like was this it? Nothing crazy.
Well, yeah, maybe if I knew the stories before, I would have thought that. But no, it was a good call. Yeah, I think I was. I think I was either in Slovakia or I just come home. Maybe it was in the summer. But yeah, it was pretty short and sweet, and looking forward to getting going in the season. And it was pretty easy.
Because when he's calling to Finnish players, they usually say that they have to put their AirPods on and start to tighten the skates immediately because they want to go in.
Yeah, that's probably the case sometimes for sure. But no, I didn't find that. I was probably sitting on a dock or something like that, fishing or something. Like I don't know. It was pretty easy going, so maybe I lucked out.
But how's the coaching team?
Great.
Been?
Yeah, I think they all complement each other really well. Obviously, we've got a lot of different dynamics. You've got Petu's obviously in charge, up top in charge, but he's got Sane and Peta doing their thing, and they're doing more of like the analytic, the videos, the teaching stuff, and then Petu's kind of overseeing it all. And but I think they all complement each other really well. Some of them, Sane has got a bit, louder voice and can, maybe get a bit more out of some guys. Meanwhile, like, Peta's a bit more soft-spoken, but a lot more analytical when it comes to video and kind of teaching. And then Petu obviously is, he pokes in and, gives us his, his advice and his, the speeches and the talks and stuff, and obviously the different discussions during practice. So I'm really enjoying it. I think they complement each other really well, like I said, and I think it's working for the guys right now. So no one's really, I haven't really heard many complaints in the sense of that. So it's good.
And it seems during the games it's pretty calm and composed.
It is until it isn't, yeah. But no, it genuinely it is. It's a pretty calm bench. We haven't had a whole lot of adversity this year. Like we've been pretty successful, but obviously in those times where we lost the 3 games last week or whatever, and people start to grip the sticks a bit tighter, and you get a bit more tense in the room and stuff. And so I think the coaches have done a good job of like, whether it's taking a day off or whether it's, 2 skates a day or something like that, like just changing up the rhythm just to kind of get a different feeling and look out of the guys. And so I think they find ways to make us respond. So it's good. Yeah. Can't really.
When you lost the 3 games, did Petu do any tricks, or was there this change or anything?
No, I mean, there's like change. Like, what do you mean?
I think you have heard the story, because when he brought the real chainsaw to Kiekko Espoo's locker room back in the days.
Oh, the chainsaw. Oh no, he hasn't done that yet. I maybe it's still coming. Who knows? We'll see.
And then I think he would put also the toilet seat into a locker room, but the people don't shit to their pants.
I heard that too. No, we've been lucky. We haven't done that. Maybe we'll get that all in one week one time. Who knows? But no, nothing yet. Nothing yet. Just the minor stuff like line changes and things like that. But they've been pretty positive. Like even, games we've lost, it's like they try to find, the stuff we've done well. So yeah, it's pretty good.
There was a lot of talk about the penalty skate after one game in Tampere. How
did everyone hear about this? Like you guys should have all been sleeping.
We have eyes everywhere.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, that sucked. Yeah, that was. I think I was more in disbelief, because he came back on the bus, and it was all in Finnish, and so guys are sitting there like, oh no, and I'm like, someone translate this for me, like what's going on? And they're like, yeah, we're going on the ice. I was like, there's no way we're going on the ice. Meanwhile, we had 10 minutes, get your wet gear on and get on the ice, and we skated. Oh my God.
How long did it take?
I don't know. It felt like 5 hours. I honestly, I don't remember.
What time was it?
We got on the ice at midnight. And I think I got out of there at 2 a.m. But after we got off the ice, I just sat there in my gear, kind of like half asleep. So, that was a wild night. Pretty funny.
Was it like I don't know if you've seen the Miracle on Ice movie, like the coach standing there and saying, again.
No words, just whistle. Yeah. Well, we did a bunch of drills throughout it. It was just every drill we did was really tough. So there was just, it was an exhausting night, especially after playing a game, but kind of a hilarious experience when you think about it. But everyone who, I can't remember who I was talking to, and they're like, oh, this is old school Finnish. This is Finnish style hockey. I was like, okay, getting the full experience here.
I think he has done it in the past also.
Oh, that's Puri and I were talking, and Sane was a player, and teammate of Puri, and then Petu made them all do that there. But then after the skate, they did like a hour run outside or something like that in Espoo. So I don't know. Thank God we didn't have to run. So.
Have you had a penalty skate before? Was it your first time?
After a game like that?
Yeah.
That's a first for me. Yeah, that's a first, especially at midnight. That's a first. Yeah. No, I didn't. Guys talked about it at the beginning of the season, and I was like, oh, there's no way like that. That just doesn't happen anymore. And then there we are on the ice at midnight. So, yeah.
What is the Canadian way to do this penalty skating?
Oh my God, I don't even know. I don't know if I've never done anything like that. Probably just like, we call them suicides, but like just no pucks for a practice, and you just skate the entire time. So you're skating for an hour.
Yeah. But it's midday.
Yeah, it'd be a normal time. Yeah. Ice costs too much back home. But yeah.
Otetaan tässä kohtaa ihan pieni tauko Hurrikaanin pyörteissä ja jatketaan kohta. Hurrikaanin pyörteissä jatketaan Trentin kanssa. Let's talk a bit about your background also. What are your first, going back to your childhood, what are your first like hockey related memories, or how did you end up playing hockey? Small rink in my hometown called the Burlington Pond. That's where I learned to skate. So there was a family, but the rink was owned by Greg Moore, and then his 2 kids, Michelle Moore, who was like a very accomplished figure skater, and then Ryan Moore, who was played junior hockey. Kind of watched and ogled, googly eyed over him when he was playing in the OHL, and so anyways, I grew up skating there, and I think I was
was I 2.5 or 3 years old and put some skates on, and they told me I was the worst. What did they say? I was like the worst skater. I was like a giraffe or a Bambi on ice is what they said. Like I could barely stand up, but every time I fell, I had a big smile on my face and got right back up and fell again. So that would be, obviously starting to skate was there, and then that would be a big memory. But yeah, my childhood hockey was kind of all over the place. I obviously started with my hometown team in Burlington and ended up moving around to different teams, and just with different things going on and stuff, it was just better off to get to different cities and places to play. So like I played in Burlington, played in Hamilton, played in Brantford, and then played in Niagara. So those 3 places. So 3 of those teams were in the same league, and then 1 was in another league. But yeah, kind of all around the same area.
Was it like a love at first sight with hockey?
Oh, I always loved it. I mean, we'd always had hockey in our family. I grew up and I had I've got a picture of my grandma, and I've got a Maple Leaf jersey on, like I was a super young age with my cousins, and we all had jerseys on. And so you were born into the sport and born into the team you're supposed to cheer for and like all that stuff. So I always enjoyed it. I was a decent enough athlete that I could kind of pick up any sport. I played, we say soccer back home, but football for you guys, and played that for years, but it just came too difficult because both sports became 12 months. You had to, you were practicing all the time, you're playing all the time, you're traveling all the time. So you kind of had to pick. So I ended up picking hockey, and loved it ever since. Kind of played as much as I could, and then obviously ended up getting drafted to junior hockey in Ontario and played there for my 5 years, and then got the opportunity to play professional, and then I've done that ever since. So, yeah.
How is it in Canada, the junior players? Because at the moment, my son is, as I said, he's 13 and they're training about 4 times a week. So how many times do you in Canada?
He's how old? 13, you said?
13, yeah.
So at that age, oh God, I'm trying to remember now.
It hasn't been so long for you.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think, because I think you would be probably, say, 2 games a week.
Yeah.
I'm thinking so, and maybe 2-3 practices, so maybe 5 days.
Okay, so I'm a little bit same.
Yeah. I'm. Yeah, and it would obviously ramp up the older you got, and obviously when we were 14, 15, going into that like draft year, those seasons are a bit more intense. A few more we have a lot of tournaments back home. Do you guys have that? Like,
we have those.
Yeah, so we would travel a bunch, and you'd have your early bird tournaments, and that's where everyone's the scouts are looking at you and all that stuff. But yeah, I'd say probably 2 games and 2-3 practices, something like that.
Okay, how much time did you spend on ice, and when you were as a junior? The trainings and
like in the OHL,
as a minor. So I think in OHL.
So a minor. So if we're talking like your kid's age, then that would have been obviously the team skates. So the 2 practices, the 2 games, and then. But I would have that Burlington pond I mentioned. Like I was skating there probably once, twice a week on top of that stuff. Yeah. So that would be an hour session with them kind of working on, handling pucks and skating and kind of all like we call it like power skating in a sense. But so that would obviously add to it. Then you've got like, the training and the gym and stuff like that you would do, 2 times a week, 3 times a week at a young age. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. But then going into junior hockey, so I would have been 16.
Yeah.
That was 6 days a week. Yeah. 1 day off usually. Oh, I think it was mandatory. We had to have 1 day off. But max 3 games a week, minimum 1 game a week. And you're practicing every day. Then it's kind of similar to pro in the sense of you're, on game days, you're sometimes skating in the morning too. So, but lots of travel and, worse travel. Like the travel here is so nice. Like, I used to have like 12, 13 hour bus rides for some games. Like it was awful, but, yeah. A little bit more intense.
So the OHL is a professional series.
Yeah, I think they call it semi-pro or something like that. But yeah, it's for junior hockey. I mean, things are changing so much back home where now kids from junior, we call it the CHL. Yeah. They can go now to the NCAA, and the NCAA, it's so different from when I was playing. But it mimics pro hockey for sure. Like your lifestyle, you go from, when you're 16, 17, 18, you go from school right to the rink, practice, do all that stuff, or on game days, it's a lot to process and handle.
Did you live at home, or do you have a place to live?
So where I initially got drafted was Sudbury, so that's about 4 hours away from where I was. So I lived with a billet family. And then when I got traded the next year to a place called Owen Sound, which is about 2.5 hours away from my house. So I lived with another family there. Yeah. So you live with different, families that put you in and treat you like their own kids. So yeah. Very different.
You touched on this briefly, but how big part of your family's life was hockey back when you were a kid? We also know your uncle played over 700 games in NHL and coached there and so on.
Yeah. I think, I don't know if it was, selfishly, it was probably a lot of hockey, and, got to apologize to my siblings probably for that. But, sports in general took up a lot of time for my family. My sisters both played. I have two older sisters. They both played high level soccer. My brother played high level hockey. And so there was a lot of time spent at the fields and at the rink. So I don't know. I couldn't put it into a number of how many hours we've spent, traveling for sports and things like that. But it was a lot.
What kind of memories you have about Dan Maloney?
Yeah. So, growing up, you were told, I was so young, when he would have been kind of coaching and playing, and, you get told these little stories, and the odd time we'd get tickets to go to the games, and he wouldn't have been playing at those games. He was retired at that point, but, just kind of really neat to kind of see the atmosphere, see the rink where he would have played, and go to the, the gardens where he would have played a lot more games. And, family functions and things like that, picking his brain, kind of same thing, kind of googly eye over him, and, admire him for what he did and all that stuff. But yeah, it was neat to have someone in the family who was, so successful and kind of got to that stage that you had dreamed of getting to. So yeah, really neat.
You mentioned the Toronto Maple Leafs jersey. Are you part of the Leafs Nation waiting for the Stanley Cup draw to end?
Well, I think, like I said, I think I was born into that. My grandma and grandfather were Blue Jays, like the baseball team, and the Maple Leafs. So they were Toronto fans, diehard fans. And so when we were born, we were instantly got both jerseys put on us. And I think there's a piece of me that would always love to see them win. We had several years ago now, but the Raptors for basketball, they won, and that was it was really neat. Especially for like the NBA and the MLB, like there's only one Canadian team, both being in Toronto. So it's like you're always kind of hoping and rooting for them. But I think this year we watched the Blue Jays in the playoffs, and I think I was up till like 4 or 5 a.m. watching these games just for them to lose. I was like, oh my God. But I don't know. The Leafs, it's definitely not this year. I'll tell you that. Doesn't look like things are going that well.
I think you have to have some idol an idol in Toronto.
I have to have an idol there?
Yeah. No player. Not the player. No.
I don't think so. No. I grew up going to games with like my dad, and my first jersey was a Matt Sundin jersey. And,
wonderful.
Yeah, and like I grew up
the Finnish killer.
Yeah, I know. It's not. Yeah, you probably wish someone else.
Not a great look.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, like for me as a defenseman, like watching Cabriolet and those guys, like just it was really cool. But yeah, I'm not one who sits there and I'm I have to watch this person just specifically. I like to watch the full game, and every player's got a bit of something to give and learn. So try to watch as much as I can. Different guys and every guy in every situation. So
any good old time hockey like Wendell Clark and
I wouldn't have been. I don't think I would have remembered any games that he would have played. That's a bit before me, I think.
Yeah, I have his jersey.
Very cool.
In beer league hockey. I'm playing with that also.
Yeah, well, you probably look the same on the ice. Yeah. Yeah.
No glass.
Oh,
no.
Oh, you're crazy. You're crazy. Someone the other day at the rink got a puck right in the nose, bleeding everywhere. Like I was like, oh god.
Yeah, but today's shift also in the beer league hockey is going to be quite slow. So
okay. All right. Well,
it's not so hard.
You got to protect your face. Yeah.
It's not so beautiful. I'm 46.
Also, Canada is known as the home of hockey, and in Finland it's the biggest sport. How much difference is there in like the popularity of hockey if you compare these two countries?
It's different. I think back home there's so like you've got say in my city, we have 10, 15 rinks. You know what I mean? Like there's hockey going all the time, but then there's 10 or there's 20 soccer fields, and like there's so much sport, there's so much diversity between different types of sports. So is the popularity different? I just think it's more concentrated here in Finland, where I mean your national sport is pesapallo, right?
Yeah.
So I think do I think hockey's more on a bigger stage than that? Yes. Do I think it's more popular than that? Yes. So, I mean, you look at some of the places like, you go to play Tapahtui or Ilves and you've got however many people that place can hold, right? You've got just some mass populations going and watching these games. I just think, there's so many people and Canada's a lot bigger. So there's going to be, that much more, it's just a bit more diluted, I think. But, hockey is, I think when people look at Canada, it's the national sport, and or is it national, or is it lacrosse a national sport? I don't even know, but it's the very popular sport. And I mean, the problem is it's so expensive to play now. That's the issue. It's not really it's not accessible for people, unfortunately. I mean, we're now at a point where, you get paid to play and you get your gear to, that's, you're not spending $2,000 on a pair of skates. So, it's just, I hope the companies find a way to make it, affordable for players again, for kids. So we'll see.
What's it like growing up playing hockey? We talked about it being a bigger country, more players, and it must be a bit more competitive than it's in Finland, maybe. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I come from a really, I guess, talented area, like where there's a rich abundance of players who played either high levels of pro or NHL, and lots of junior players. So the Toronto area is there's so many people. So the more there's so many hockey players and so much skill there. I think it was. It was a competitive place. It's a competitive sport, and it didn't matter where you were playing. Like I said earlier, like I was playing on different teams. You're always going to be, fighting for ice time. You're fighting for different coaches' approvals, and you're fighting for, the guys in the we always say with the clipboards and the black long coats, the trench coats. They were always the scouts taking notes, and you always don't know who's watching. And I guess it's the same everywhere you are now. Like everywhere you play, there's people watching and evaluating you. But very competitive.
Did you have, when you were as junior, before the OHL, did you play for some kind of championship league, or there was some kind of end tournament?
Like if you won, like you go and play in another tournament, like the CHL. You mean?
At the end of the season, do you have an end tournament? Because I have been seeing that 10-year-old kids go into a tournament and they are putting it live on air, and there's a spectators and some guy giving interviews for the kids.
That's gotten more. I guess it's become more and more frequent. But when I was playing, I know like when I was 15, in my league we had kind of like a culmination. Like all the top teams would go and play in this tournament. So it was called the OHL Cup. It was just a big audition. In a way, like you had so many scouts and teams and people coming and watching you, schools coming and watching, and the kids who scored the big goals would get their interviews, or the top prospects got their interviews, and I think it was on it would have been broadcasted everywhere. But there's more of those now. You're probably seeing a lot more frequently. But I think for us too, we would play spring hockey. That was another big thing for us growing up, and we would finish our leagues with our teams, and then in the spring we'd jump onto these kind of travel teams, and you go and play tournaments throughout the summer and the spring, which was really neat. You kind of got to meet new people and play some pretty crazy teams, and a lot of teams from the States and things like that. So yeah.
At what point did you realize you can make a profession out of the hockey?
Oh God. Well, okay, let me preface this. I was 15 playing we call it minor midget. So that's our highest or our second last level of minor hockey. But that's the year you get drafted.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know there was a draft. I didn't even know it. So for school, when we were young, we'd go to these games. We'd go watch. At the time, they were the Hamilton Bulldogs. Now they're the Laval Rockets in the AHL. So we had a team just outside of my hometown. So we'd go on a school bus with our friends. We'd make signs. We'd go and watch these games. Toronto Marlies were down the road too. We'd go and watch these games on our field trips and stuff. So I knew about that, and I was like, oh, these are just feeder teams into the NHL. But I didn't know much about junior hockey and the OHL, and so when I got drafted, which was didn't know that was going to happen. It happened, which was awesome. You kind of start to realize that out of all the kids, there's only this many kids that were selected. You were one of them. Okay, so you have that shot, and then after that, it's you're playing. You're still on the team, you're making the team, you're progressing, you're doing well, you're getting more ice time, all this different stuff. You're kind of building your career there. But then I can't remember, it was my third year probably. I got drafted to St. Louis, and then it was kind of there's less people that get drafted to this league, and then you're one of them. Okay, so let's just keep building on that. So I probably think when my year I got drafted to St. Louis, it kind of sets in that you can kind of make it. You can figure this out and make a career out of this if that's what you want. I think the skill, I always had the drive. Everyone's got the dream that they want to play in the NHL. That's the childhood dream. And obviously I had my uncle, but it just seems so far at times. So these little things getting drafted and more ice time and things like that, it just becomes a bit more of a reality in a sense. So yeah, I got drafted. I started playing after junior. I started playing in the AHL and East Coast and AHL, and just kind of used that opportunity to keep growing and find different opportunities along the way. So,
So step by step, it comes more achievable.
Yeah, I think if you look at it from when you start to where you are at the beginning to where you want to go, that is such a big jump. But every chance you get, you have one little a success here, and you come up a bit, and you just keep kind of climbing that ladder, or where it becomes this is something that if you want to do for a living, you can do that, and if it's something you enjoy, that's even better. You know what I mean? So definitely a privilege and a luxury to play a sport that you love, and kind of go out and stay physically fit all the time. It's super, we're all spoiled. I think it's such a unique opportunity. So
what about did you go to any of those St. Louis camps where the drafted players come and they have their physical tests and stuff?
Yeah. So I did.
What year was the draft? Was it
2017?
17.
Yeah. So I did 2 years of rookie camps and development camps, rookie camps, and then main camps. Brutal. Well, like you were saying, the testing and stuff, that stuff's hard. But yeah, really cool experiences.
What did they say to you there?
What did they say to me?
Yeah.
I did really well. My first year there, I did really, really well. So I had a development camp, and then we have a rookie tournament, which was really neat experience. It was in Traverse City, Michigan, where they bring a bunch of teams into this small town, and we're all staying up in these kind of beachy hotels and go and play this tournament. And so I did really well there, and things were good. They were just like, you've done really well and want you to go back and, keep progressing. So I went back to junior hockey and had a really solid year. Ended up breaking my fingers in playoffs. And then I had to go pretty shortly after to my development camp again. And I'm trying to remember, did I skate at the development camp? I don't think I skated at development camp because my fingers were broken. And then they still the healing process wasn't good. And I ended up going to rookie camp, and I just didn't perform the way I should have. And it's not like it's an excuse. It's just that's just kind of what I chalk it up to be. So yeah, it didn't do as well in my second year, and went back to junior again and finished the year out. Had another decent year, and then kind of your rights with St. Louis kind of expired, and then I got picked up by Ottawa's system and played in Belleville. So yeah.
How often did you have any contacts with the guys from St. Louis after the draft?
Yeah, so there's guys who work with all the drafted players, player development. It would be, it depended how much you wanted to reach out and talk to them and kind of go over things. Different teams and player development coaches, I'm sure they had different regiments with different people. And but I spoke probably every 2 weeks, probably. Maybe it was more, maybe it was less, depending on the time of year, the amount of games you're playing, and whether they're going over video and things like that. So, and then they come down and visit you and, see how you're doing, hop on the ice and go, be in the gym with you while you're working out and just see if you're progressing the way that they want. So yeah, it all depends on the team and the player and things like that.
How about those couple of years in AHL and ECHL? What kind of memories you have from those?
Yeah, it was just the players you get to meet, the experiences, the places you get to kind of travel to and check out. But I think the AHL has got to be, in the sense of competitiveness, travel, and overall difficulty. I think that's got to be one of the toughest leagues around the world. Just in the sense of you're traveling outrageous distances for games. You're, not a whole lot of, the road trips are, they can be upwards of 2 weeks and away from home. So it strains your home life. It strains, there's a lot of, I was single at the point, so I was okay. I was just, enjoying it as I went. But yeah, they're difficult leagues because you're always competing against your team. Like, yeah, you want to win with your team and stuff like that, but you're also trying to achieve something above that. So, me and my D partner there, it's like, I'm trying to make a better pass than he's making, or, I'm trying to get more shots than he's getting. Like, it's that underlying, stress or competitive nature that everyone has, because you're trying to, get up to that next level, and there might only be one spot available for 9 guys competing for it. Right. So it's super competitive, but, had a lot of fun, in those leagues, and obviously met a lot of cool people and, a lot of good experiences.
What about were you close to get up to and play that one NHL game?
I was so I played exhibition games. That was about it, and I think it's a little different for obviously defensemen, as we're there's probably 8 guys competing for one spot, and I when I went to Ottawa system and then obviously Manitoba and with Winnipeg system, I was on an AHL deal, so any guy who was on a Winnipeg deal, like an NHL deal, they would have had probably priority over me. So was I close to making it up there? Maybe in my head I thought so, and maybe in their head they were like, absolutely not. I don't know. It's hard. I don't know.
I was going to ask about the AHL thing because you mentioned the long trips and being a lot with the team, but also there's the competition for those spots up. So how's the mentality and maybe the atmosphere between the team?
Like in the dressing room?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can. That's the thing. Like like hockey teams and sport teams, it becomes like a family. So you have, a great time when you're at the rink. As soon as the gear goes on, it's a lot more competitive. It's a bit more cutthroat. Like I've seen practice fights. I've seen all sorts of stuff. Like guys just get into it with each other. It's just normal. That's just, that's how people compete, and that's how people, try to earn their keep and their spot. But yeah, I mean, I had good experiences where I was, whether it's on road trips, you're going for dinner with the guys, you're playing cards with the guys. So you build great relationships. But yeah, competitive for sure.
Were there any guys in your teams that were a little bit older guys and they accept that, okay, we are playing in the AHL and they're not so keen to go up anymore, that they are just playing the hockey and having a couple of beers after the game? And
I think like that definitely happens, as some guys get older, they're more like they're happy with where they are. They're enjoying, just playing in the AHL or whatnot. But I mean, I was such a young kid where I was like, that's all I want. Like, I just want to keep building and trying to get better. So it's, you maybe put your training and yourself, your nutrition, all this stuff, like maybe a bit further ahead. Like, so maybe you don't go out and you're not drinking, maybe you're not going to the restaurant to eat out. You're trying to stay as clean as possible. And, so yeah, it just depends on situation and age and stuff like that. But yeah, there's definitely guys who take it a bit more, like they're a bit more relaxed and comfortable where they are.
You had some Finnish teammates also in the juniors and in the AHL. Do you have any memories of the Finnish guys?
Yeah, I played, was it 2 or 3 years with Palmu from IFK. Yeah, so he's a good dude. I've played with him for, like I said, 2-3 years. Great guy. Kind of got to know a bit more about, the Finnish culture through him. And then I had a bunch of teammates. I think it was up in Manitoba, Hanola, who played there, and we had a lot of Scandinavians. Like we had a couple Swedes, and but yeah, that's the cool part about playing in North America and or coming overseas. It's like the imports coming over to North America there's usually a lot of whether it's Czech or Finnish or Swedish. It's usually the players that come over, and you get to learn a lot about their culture. We show them ours, and then vice versa. Now I'm doing it. I'm the import over here, and kind of learning about your culture and that kind of stuff. So really neat.
I've heard from many Finnish players who are in North America, they have like a Finnish mafia if they have some Finnish players in the same team.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So did it seem like that Finnish guys had something different going on?
We say clique, like a cliquey kind of group back home, but the teams I was on, I never really noticed that. It was always like, as North Americans, like we always tried to include the Europeans, because there was never going to be 10 or 12 guys coming from Europe to play over there. So there'd be 2 or 3, and they'd speak their native language to each other because it was more comfortable. So I can understand the mafia part, like the Finnish mafia. So when they were together, they could speak Finnish, they could do their thing. So I totally get that. It's the same as Torgi and True and I. We're able to speak English together, and it's not native to those two, but it's something we all can kind of sit together because we can't speak Finnish. So, but yeah, I think it all depends how inclusive the rest of the teammates are. Try to avoid creating those little groups along the team because it just divides people. So, yeah.
How about the decision to come overseas to play in Europe? What kind of a decision was it?
Yeah, it was in my second year in Manitoba, and I think it just was kind of battling with a lot of guys to for ice time and things like that. And I was like it didn't really matter or it seemed like that. Maybe it was a bit more of like a you weren't thinking as straight as you probably should have, but you were battling with guys for ice time and staying in the lineup, and it was like, oh, like this is just, it's crazy. Like, so I just thought of talked to my agent, needed a bit of change, and ended up being a team in Germany, Straubing, that were looking for players, and went over there. And I mean, it started really well. Like, I had 5 games and I did really well, and then I got hit from behind and I blew my shoulder up. So the whole European adventure was cut pretty short with a hospital visit. But that's kind of how it came to be. I mean, it was just a year of disappointment in a sense, going up and down from the East Coast to the AHL, and wanting a bit more consistency and wanting to kind of like play and show what you had. So went to Germany and started really well, and unfortunately got injured. So yeah.
Were you any nervous to come to Europe, to unknown
I think so. But I luckily, like I've so many people I know who have never been outside of Canada, like or never been outside of North America, never flown across the ocean. I'm just like, oh my goodness. So I was fortunate enough when I was in high school. I did a trip to Europe for a little history trip, and so I've been overseas. I've flown alone. Like I've done all that. We've done a lot of flying and stuff when you're playing pro. So I was never really nervous about that. I think it was just a different experience. Like I've really enjoyed my time in Europe. Like as much as I can, I try to get out and explore and learn as much as I can about the different cultures and stuff that I've been able to live in. So yeah, wasn't nervous. I was more kind of excited. Didn't really know what was in store for me, but got there and figured it out.
How was the decision to continue also in Europe after the?
Yeah, well, I mean that was the difficult part when I went there. I played my 5 games, and the team was fortunate, really, pleasant where they offered me a contract to re-sign for the next year, and a lot of teams like a guy has a big injury, it's like, okay, well maybe we'll cut them off, we'll just find a new player who can fill a spot immediately, but so they were fortunate enough to kind of give me another shot that year, and it was just kind of a year filled with coming back from my shoulder injury, and then I was in the hospital for another week or 2 later in the season with a bad infection. So it was just a year of kind of bad circumstances and things that happened. So yeah, really fortunate that Straubing gave me another shot. Just a year that just did not work out in a sense. So anyways, after that kind of dropped down a level and went up to the Allsvenskan in Sweden and did well, and then got picked up by IFK. So yeah, it was a weird little roller coaster, but life happens.
Yeah, life happens. So did they give you any contract suggestion from GFK? No, and there was talk, and then that whole like the management and everything kind of blew up. Like they fired everyone and brought in new guys, and and then ended up. That's how I ended up down in Slovakia later in the fall. So, yeah. How was Slovakia?
Different. Yeah, but you know what? Like it was cool. Like again, the same thing. You get to meet a different culture and meet a different group of people, and the hockey. Honestly, it was skilled. It was definitely rough, and the
mentality.
The mentality?
Yeah, the of the Slovakian players. Yeah, the Czech players.
Rough and kind of tough and bruising, but I kind of I've always enjoyed like a bit of a rougher game, so like it was okay. Kind of I could whack them back, if need be. So different experience. Met a lot of we had a ton of imports throughout the year that came and went onto our team. So I met a lot of really nice guys and guys I still talk to today. And so I mean, definitely I didn't expect to be there, but I was fortunate for the experience and learned a lot and experienced obviously a new country and the countries surrounding there, and interesting time.
So
fun time.
Germany, Sweden, Slovakia, and Finland, 4 countries in Europe. What are the biggest upsides from each country?
Oh God, weather. Stay in Germany if you want better weather than here. Well, no, not better weather, just more sunlight. That's been the biggest shock this year. Because I mean, we have obviously. Like Canada's relatively north, and we have the different where you're in the winters the sunlight gets less and less and less. But I was talking with my family back home, and it was like, all right, so ours is staying at 5 p.m. it gets dark or whatever, and then ours just pardon me,
but from 9 to 4, you're able to see something.
And then it just kept getting less and less. I was like, oh yeah, our sun comes out at like 10:30 in the morning, something like that. I was like, anyway, so no. Every place, man, oh man. Every place had just different things, like the food, the culture, and every country was just a little different. And I could probably go back and pick something that I enjoyed from everyone. But I will say the North American culture to the European culture is totally different. Like, I think I think European, it's not laid back. It's just like you guys prioritize family and friends a lot more in the sense of you're willing to put work on hold in order to, go and have a coffee or go and have, like in Sweden they say fika, or like, you go and have a dessert with them, you go and have a beer, you go and have a, dinner or something like that. I think back home, a lot of people, work is like a 12-hour thing, a 24-hour thing where you're bringing that home to work on it at home. So I like how there's you really take a pause and you enjoy the people around you. Like it's a bit more social over here, which is nice. So that would be, I think, my biggest takeaway. It's just kind of the friendly, the family aspect of it.
Otetaan Hurrikaanin Pyörteissä vielä yksi pieni katko ja sitten vielä päätellään juttua Trent Bourquen kanssa. Näin jatketaan vielä vähän aikaa tosiaankin Trent Bourquen kanssa. Trent, if we think about this season, how has it been with JYP? The results have been pretty nice, but where do you see, where is this JYP going?
Yeah, I mean, the results have been good. Been really good. Obviously, there's a few more games we probably should have won, but that's hockey. Where is it going? Hopefully to the top. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to ride this, the underdog story, and we're trying to kind of stay under the radar and, really surprise some teams. I mean, surprise teams. I mean, I think we've beaten every team this year, right? So you can't really surprise them anymore, but we're trying to stay, as composed as possible and continue to improve every day. But, I mean, I don't think there's a guy in there that doesn't think we can win this year. And that's what we're pushing for. And, we're going to keep, like I said, on that underdog story and hopefully keep rising to the top here. So that's the plan.
Is the clear goal being in the top 4 after the
I just think, I think if you look at the last 7 years, I think the goal is to make playoffs. But obviously, the better we do, the better we perform, the better outcomes or position you are in regards to playoffs and things like that. So, if we can get, as high as possible, we're going to do that. I don't think we've sat there and been like, we need to be top 4, top 5. No, we need to do as well as we can. We need to, win as many games as we can, and the rest will play out. So control what we can control. Like, you never want to get to a point where, we need this team to win, we need this team to lose. You never want to be in that position. So I think we're doing really well. And I think if we can just continue winning games and win as many as we possibly can, that's the best case scenario. That's our game plan right now.
That's the position JYP has been for the last 7 years.
It came back to, it was like 1 point last year or something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we have been started counting since usually during November. Started, okay, if we won this and we have, so with 75 points you can get to the playoffs. Now we have these teams that we're playing against, and we have to, if we won these, we have to get some extra points from these teams.
Yeah, that's the worst.
That's terrible.
Oh.
And then
you've got 4 different screens going with games. Like, this is good. We need them to lose. Oh no, we need this person to win. Like, it's awful.
And then there's the games in hand, and those have played 3 games more. And
yeah.
But we are hitting the big one with the Jere now, because if you're in best 4 before the playoffs, we are getting our hairs off.
Shaving.
Yeah.
We made a bet at the beginning of the season.
I wrote him an SMS that, well, okay, I have my barbering machine ready already. So.
Nice. I like that. That's a good little bet.
Yeah. But you mentioned earlier there hasn't been much of adversity during the season, a bit of adversity during the last weeks, at least result-wise. Has it been a good chance to grow for the team?
Oh, I think that's why, when we talked about Petun, like, he comes in and he's calm and he's, finding the positive in it, because we've had a successful year. Like, we haven't lost too many games in a row. We haven't lost that many games, and, which is so nice for a team. But, as bad as the 3 games lost after, the EFCO and those 2 next games, I think it's good. You need to learn, you need to build resiliency. You need to be able to lose a game and to be able to come back and win. So, haven't had a whole lot of it, but I don't think those are bad moments, right? Like 3 games in the grand scheme of a big season, of a long season, I think we're okay. So it's good for us, I think. Just not too common, and don't do it again, kind of thing.
It is maybe a bit stupid question, but is it a good thing for a team to lose sometimes also?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You can't, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it's happened, but is there? Years ago, do you remember the Tampa Bay Lightning? They had this historic season. They were first place. They had like set records for the number of points and things like that. And then they were the number 1 seed. And then they played the second wild card, which would have been Columbus. Columbus won
4-3.
Was it 4-0?
Was it a sweep?
Yeah. I think it was a sweep. 4-0 for Columbus. Yeah. So like, just it goes to show like, it doesn't matter. If you've had like such a crazy successful year, if you can't figure out how to, deal with losing or deal with, your resiliency on like how you can come back from that, you're screwed in the grand scheme of things. Like the seasons are so long that, you might be doing so well initially, you might fall off again, and then you might come back and do well again. Like it's just, no one really knows. But if you can build a bit of a foundation, if that comes from team building or if that comes from losing games, like, so be it. Like you need that stuff, I think.
Have you seen the team growing during the season? Because we talked about this team has for the last years played for pretty different positions in the standings, and maybe some guys have been not winning during their career. So has there been growth during this season?
Yeah, I would say so. I think our team has changed also throughout the year with, guys coming up and down from Mestis to Liga with injuries and illnesses, guys leaving the team, guys coming in. I think, building the chemistry has been, it's definitely been noticeable, but we've had like a very friendly room. Like everyone's gotten along with each other. Yeah. Everyone can go out to dinner with each other, which is nice. And, have we been building? Have we been getting better? I think so. Obviously there's going to be those lapses where maybe you don't have such a good game, or maybe there's some guys who aren't playing as well as, fans would hope or something like this. Like, but that's just, that's the way a season goes. There's highs and lows, and it's just trying to find a way to stay on that upward trend as opposed to falling off too far. So kind of using, everyone's kind of picking each other up and trying to, make sure that, guys are feeling all right and guys are, enjoying themselves still. And so if everyone can kind of sit there, have some fun and enjoy the, the atmosphere at the rink, then I think good things come. And we're seeing that during the games, right? So, yeah, I think to answer your question, yes.
What about the U20 players? Because it's most of the players, it's the first time they're speaking English with foreign players, and they come to the locker room and they're just, okay, this is the big place. Now I'm in league.
Yeah. You say about language and stuff like that. I think it's nice. Like at the beginning of the season, Petu said that he's been coaching in English for so many years that he's going to coach in Finnish, which is fine for us, and it's probably better for the young kids too. I try and so I'm in between Puri and Jere. And I'm poking at Jere all the time, like trying to get him to speak English and stuff like this. And so he's gotten a lot better. But yeah, like the U20s that come up, it's, I think they're doing really well for the guys that have come up and, performed in the games. And I think those are just like great experiences for them to, come up, meet the guys, see the atmosphere, see the different, different levels of play and things like that. So it's been good.
Yeah, I've been noticed that I'm old because a guy who I play with was Erkki Koivu, and his son Noel was played his first game in league.
Yeah.
His son.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
Totally crazy.
You mentioned Jere. How is he as a captain?
He's good. He is a Pudi and I call him the Wolverine, but
another nickname.
Yeah. He's super fun to watch. I mean, he's talented with the puck, but he, like, back home we say workhorse. Like he is a workhorse in the corners. Like, it doesn't matter if it's the D zone or the O zone. I think he's a captain that kind of leads by example. He's not the oldest guy on the team by no means, right? He's one of the younger ones, but he is, always working. He's, always trying to put the team best. I don't think he's the most vocal guy when it comes to, yelling and not yelling, but like, getting up and trying to, get guys pumped up. There's other guys on the team that do that. but he is, he's a lead by example. He's a guy that, is always going to be, putting the team first. So yeah, really, really enjoy watching him play and playing with him. So it's a good kid.
And on the other side, you have the assistant captain, who is Pudi, who is made of totally different material.
Yeah. Like, well, just so many different different types of players. And I mean, I've had so much fun sitting with Pudi. Like, he's such a great guy. Great guy, and another guy who, just works so hard on the ice.
And playing one of his best career years, I think.
Playing one of his best, you think?
I think so, because he has been really good at the age of 37.
Yeah, but he's the guy who will sit there and like, I just, I'm feeling old, or I don't got it anymore. I was like, dude, you're playing so well. Like, you've got, you like, hey, whether it's on the power play or fine, like, he's doing so well. He's another guy, leads by example, and, does everything the right way. So yeah, he's a good guy to have in the room for sure, and on the ice.
You have two strong leaders on both sides of you in the locker room. What's your role in the locker room?
I mean, I try to follow suit. It's difficult. It's not difficult. It's just different for a North American because, I can't, for some of the younger guys who aren't as comfortable in English, it's difficult to try and talk to them or pump them up in a way. But I'm a very vocal guy. I love to talk. I love to, speak my mind in the room and on the bench and try to get guys, as pumped up or on their same page as possible. So try to lead by example. I'm like I said, I'm a pretty vocal guy, and just try to keep everyone on the same page. So just trying to do everything we can to help win. So doing my part while trying to keep everyone else, on the same page.
There's been a lot of talk about being hungry for the success. How hungry are you at the moment?
Oh, beyond. I mean, I haven't, so I'm trying to think, like, minor hockey, we won some tournaments and we did really well, but I've never won like a championship, and that's, I think people talk about the argument like, oh, American football, just because the playoffs are going on right now, it's harder than, it's the hardest sport to win. And I'm like, you guys play one game a week. Are you kidding me? Put any of these guys in skates, you know what I mean? But, we go into playoffs and you've got like 7-game series against different teams. And it's just, it's such a difficult championship to win, sport to win in. So having a solid team this year and with a true potential to win, I'm hungry as ever. I love playing. I love the, the competition. I love the success our team's having. And like I said, when you asked us about Toba and I, we're having fun. We're having a blast playing, and we're laughing on the bench, and it's a good atmosphere, and the rink is always packed and it's loud, and so yeah, we can't complain right now. Having fun and trying to win every game.
It's just something that you wrote an extension for the contract.
Yes, yeah, that definitely, I mean, that was a big thing. Like, we started the year successfully, and we've had there's a lot of good guys in the room, and it was kind of a no-brainer, especially when we're bringing a lot of the same guys back. So build off of this year that hopefully is going to be as successful as possible, and continue the next year with a lot of the same guys and most of the
stuff.
And try to continue to build. So for me it was nice to get that done and don't really have to worry about it over the summer, which is nice.
You mentioned that with the Team Canada call, that's how could you say no? Was it a bit same kind of situation with the JYP extension because you're having fun, there's good teams on a good path and so on?
Absolutely. I think you obviously have to consider a lot of things like, whether it's like coaches staying or coaches going or players coming and going, but different conversations, but absolutely. I think it's a city that I enjoy living in. It's a good culture, and I get along with the guys in the room, get along with the staff. Our team's successful and doing well. The fan base is really nice and pleasant and, engaged. So yeah, in a sense, it was a no-brainer. Like you just like I said, it's nice to just have that done. You don't have to worry about it. So can just enjoy the rest of the season and the off season and then come back and start the next year.
Was it like Petu said to you that American guys shows you that we want you? Or
he was definitely, pretty vocal throughout that time, asking, whether he, there's been an offer for a contract, and so we had a lot of conversation. But he was pretty adamant that he wanted me to stay, and the coaching staff were staying the same. And so it's nice to for a head coach to say you're wanted, and to know that you're part of that plan. So which that definitely helped in the decision and signing again. So absolutely.
You were ready to go to the ice after 30 seconds when Petu started to talk with you.
Yeah. My skates were getting tied.
Yeah, you are. But.
So let's look ahead. This week, 2 games away from home, Saipa and Kalpa. Mm-hmm. What kind of feelings do those games?
Yeah. Well, Saipa, smaller rink. Well, it seems smaller just because the roof's lower, but I think those are both tough places to play. Obviously, the Derby and Kalpa. I like that rink a lot. Like, it's a lot of fun to play in. So I think they're going to be fast games. I think they're, obviously it's going to be 3 top teams playing us, and those 2 is 3 top teams playing against each other. So, you treat every game like a playoff game in a sense, and, you're sizing each other up, and you're trying to, squeeze them in ways that they, they don't want to be squeezed, but it helps us. So, fast games, going to need a lot of discipline because they both have good power plays. But yeah, hopefully we can go in there and, play our game and come out with 3 points in each game. So
they're playing a little bit different compared to each other, and Saipa is coming strongly forward all the time with 2, even with 3 sometimes. Yeah. And as a defender, how would you describe it? How do you feel sounded there, because they are coming behind the net? And
yeah, it's kind of I remember the game when we played in Saipa. It was just like you always felt like someone was on you. Like you said, they play a game where they're always going, like they're always skating, and so I think it's always just like for a defenseman with guys always on you. I think it's just evaluating, like looking and making sure you're scanning the ice to see where exactly your teammates are, and having a game plan that, like, if you know that you have a winger coming down the boards or a centerman in the middle, like, you can make that pass sometimes, like, without, potentially looking and seeing the guy 100%. So just trusting that people will be there. But for a defenseman, it's just moving the puck quick, getting to the puck quick and moving it quick, because otherwise you're going to get crunched. So, yeah.
I would say Saipa has been maybe the most difficult opponent for you guys this season. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I think they're a tough team to play. They've got a lot of skill. I don't think, like, they're not the biggest team, but they're fast. They've got a lot of skill, and they're kind of, they don't play like sport, but it's another team that, if we get to the puck first, they'll sometimes sit back too, and they'll wait for us to come up the ice, or they'll wait for us to make a mistake, and then they'll jump. So difficult, to play, but we can beat that team. So that's just
and
what
you've beaten that team also
exactly,
with your goal.
The overtime one. So hopefully we can do it in regulation. No OT. Need the 3 points, not the 2.
And then the Kalpa game, you mentioned the rivalry between the teams. Have you sensed it in the earlier meetings this season, that there's a big rivalry between these teams? Yeah,
I initially, like, when we first went there to play them, obviously they had done so well the year before, and I didn't know it was a dirt. Like, every game is 4 hours. Like that. I mean, the furthest game in this league is 4 hours away. So, like, when I first came to Europe and played in Germany, derbies were, it was the hour game away. It was the 2 hour max game away, because then we had 14-hour drives, right? So I didn't know it was a derby right away, but when we got there, I think we had a couple hundred fans there, and the rink was packed. It was loud. It was a great time. Like, I loved playing there. But I think that's another team where, you can't give them any room, because there's so much skill. And, when they do have the puck, it's like making sure that every guy is covered, and, otherwise they'll take advantage of you. I mean, last game, there was a few opportunities where I think we were at home when we played them, and, there was a guy, I think there was two goals that they scored from just in front of the net, from a guy passing it out from behind. So it's just like making sure that we're assessing the situation, finding guys, picking up guys and playing defensively well, because if we take care of our own end, then everything else can happen naturally in the other end. So that's kind of the game plan when it comes to them. Yeah.
Onko se kuulijakysymysten aika?
Yes.
So we have some questions also from our listeners.
Okay.
A couple of them coming right now. First of all, this is a classic question in Finland. I don't know, is it such a big thing in Canada, but how much do you lift from bench?
Bench. Oh my God. Well, you guys do kilograms. I do pounds back home.
We can multiply it with 0.40.
Well, it's what? It's the bar is 20.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't test max bench.
A little bit more than Hurrikaanin.
No, that guy's crazy. I don't know. What? It's 20. Like probably 2 plates on each side, maybe 2 plates and a 25, or 2 plates and a
20. So it's 100 kilos or 120.
40 on each side. So maybe 100 kilos.
100 kilos, yeah.
Yeah, 110 kilos, something like that.
That's maybe a bit old school question also.
Yeah, I don't even know. I can't remember the last time I tested that.
Then there's the next question. What is the most beautiful place in Canada?
I'm going to say the lake my cottage is on, but northern, like there's a few different answers. Northern Ontario is like in cottage country is one of the most beautiful places. But then you go out west to, the mountains in British Columbia and it is unbelievable. And then you go out east to, the East Coast, like Newfoundland or something like that. It's stunning too. I don't know. I'll say my cottage.
Then there's the last question. What is your morning routine?
Morning routine. I get up. Usually, if we're talking about like drinking and eating and stuff, like I drink a liter of water and then make some food most days. Sometimes I don't, but depending on the day, I usually make some food before going to the rink, splash some water on my face, get dressed and go. It's pretty quick.
Do you have any superstitions on game days or something like that?
I don't think superstitions. I tend to do, I have a routine, you know what I mean? Like I'll do the same things. But do I have a superstition? Not really. I just tend to do the same things in the same order. So maybe that is I don't know.
Is it like that we are putting on the left skate or
that usually it's the right skate. Yeah. Usually the right skate then the left, but it's not like it's the end of the world for me. Like it's not like if I put on the left skate first, I need to take everything off. It doesn't really matter. So
you are not sacrificing a chicken for the sticks or anything. So
no, yeah. No, I don't have any crazy things like that.
Have you heard of any like crazy superstitions or seen on some guy on your team?
I used to have a teammate who he would put his stick. Well, we call them garbage goals. So he would mix his stick first in the garbage, then he'd go and throw his stick out into the outside somewhere. He'd find some dirt, he'd sprinkle it on it, bring it back in, and then tape it. I was like, "What are you doing?" But that was a little interesting. But I'm trying to remember. Some guys brush their teeth before games. I've never done that. That was an interesting one. No, I think guys just have some guys have some crazy ones, but I just routine. I just do the same thing. Stretch, usually at the same time. I get to the rink at the same time, stuff like that, simple stuff.
And how do you see the goalies? In Finland, we think that the goalies are maybe a bit different. Do you see it the same?
I think every goalie's different, right? No, they've got some, I don't know. I don't know how you see pucks and do those things.
But you have Salminen, who is quite calm, and then Setänen, who is like this
yeah, he's nuts. Yeah. He's like a little ball energy. They're so different, the two of them. Yeah. And the way they warm up is different.
So the other one is speaking all the time, and the other one is listening to music.
Yes. Yeah. Osko can't stop, and then Salko he likes to have his his silence and kind of focus on his own. Yeah.
All right. I think that's about it. Thanks a lot and good luck for the season.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Näin aletaan siis lopettelemaan tämänkertaista Hurrikaanin pyörteissä jaksoa. Ruthin Leipomo hiljenee, mutta hiljenee vain 2 viikoksi. Kuvaan tulee juurikin nyt nuo meidän yhteydenottokanavat, missä voi palautetta laittaa tulemaan, toivoa vieraita ja niin edelleen. Nyt kiitellään seurasta ja toivotellaan oikein hyviä viikon jatkoja. Se on moro.